Still warm and humid towards eastern parts, but further north and west a bit fresher, a bit more comfortable than some recent nights perhaps. Then into tomorrow morning, well, a cloudy start across much of Scotland. A bit of sunshine perhaps towards the northeast, but yes, generally quite grey. There will be some rain around, but it's not looking as heavy or as thundery as what we're seeing at the moment and overnight. Also across Northern Ireland, bit of cloud, bit of rain towards the west in particular, and down the western side of England and also Wales. Bit of cloud here, some rain pushing through at times, but it's not a total washout by any means. Across more central eastern parts of England, it's a brighter, sunnier start to the day, and really through the day itself, we have a northwest-southeast split, staying quite cloudy, outbreaks of rain, a fresher breeze towards the northwest, drier and sunnier towards the southeast, but some showers pushing into some southeastern parts later. These could turn heavy and thundery. Still hot in the east, but not as hot as it has been, and temperatures towards the north and west, well, mid-20s really for many here. Into Sunday, and we have some cloudy wet weather sweeping its way eastwards. It's not particularly heavy rain or all that persistent, but most of us will see some outbreaks of rain, but there should be some brighter, sunnier weather around as well, and temperatures, well, they're going to be so much more comfortable for many of us than they have been recently, dropping to much closer to average for the time of year. Bye-bye.
Expect warm spells with the odd rude interruption. Box Boilers sponsors the weather on GB News.
It's a Great British Giveaway Golden Summer Celebration. Your chance to win 2 fantastic prizes. There's an incredible £60,000 in tax-free cash. Plus, you'll also get your hands on a fine gold bar worth over £5,000. For a chance to win £60,000 in tax-free cash and a real gold bar, text GOLD to 63225. One entry costs £2.50 plus one standard network rate message, or text BONUS to 63225. 5 entries cost £5 plus one standard network rate message. Go to gbnews.com/win. Entry starts at £2.50. Call 0903 686 3232. Calls cost £2.50 plus your network access charge. Or post your name and number to GB22 PO Box 8690 Derby DE1 9TT. UK only. Entrance must be 18 or over. Lines close at 4 p.m. on the 21st of August. This is a network giveaway. Entries will be pooled. Please check the closing time if listening or watching on demand.
At GB News, we love to hear from you, our loyal community. So drop us a line at gbnews.com/yoursay. There you can talk to each other and also to the presenters live on air. gbnews.com/yoursay, because GB News is your channel, Britain's news channel.
From the school run to the home run, watch a new show for all of Britain.
He can say whatever he wants.
A straight talking show where all voices are heard.
And, when are we going to stop talking about smashing the gangs and actually do it?
With the stories that matter from every part of our country.
There's a bit of a crash landing there for your Chancellor.
Bold, fearless and standing up for you. That's me, Martin Daubney, 3 p.m. till 6 p.m, weekdays, here only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Join me, Nana Okoye, for an informative, interactive news programme with a difference. It's fun.
No, he didn't say that, Dave.
I'm so surprised.
I think there's an element of truth to that.
Join me from 3 p.m. every weekend, only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
Hi, I'm Michelle Dewberry, and my show is your opportunity to cut through all the noise and dive in headfirst to some robust debates. Ideas clash.
Situation,
no,
because the failure is
you're deliberately avoiding my point. Nothing's held back.
And if you think this is the end of it, wait for more.
And we do not shy away from the difficult stuff.
Sometimes I want to shake people and say, if only you understood.
So join me on Jubes & Co weeknights at 6 p.m, only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
Breaking news, live updates, stories that matter.
From the heart of the GB newsroom to every corner of Britain, with our team of dedicated journalists across the UK.
GB News bulletins are there to deliver the latest news that matters to you.
Bulletins on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
The GB News audience is different, it's unique, because they see through the nonsense.
We want to debate with each other, we want to listen and maybe learn.
We have a chat. That's what we do. We try and have a chat.
They'll watch my programme while they're eating their tea, they'll watch breakfast while they're busy getting their kids ready for school.
We want to hear what matters to you, what is news for you.
and what's brought you out here today?
What are the biggest issues affecting this particular area?
The audience are the best thing about GB News.
Their friends, their family. They're people who need to have their voices heard.
They're passionate about the channel, they're passionate about what they believe in.
The one thing about GB News is you get a chance to speak.
Talk to me about why so many people have gathered here today.
Do you want to say something back in return? The GB News audience is what makes GB News special.
It's incredible to see.
They shape our programmes, they shape our output, and they shape our channel.
That's what makes us the fearless champion of Britain.
Christys tonight. We can extend this camp of migrants to 2030, which means there is no intention of sending these people back or stopping the boats. And we know this. This just confirms what I think most of the country already know.
Well, the big news today is that illegal migrants are set to outnumber locals in some rural English towns. Plus... Yeah, some footage there, a bit of champagne being popped after a prisoner was released early, so that's great. I think they've learnt their lesson, don't you? But killers and rapists are now set to be released early. What could go wrong? And?
Like I said, so I was literally just walking there and I seen him. He's then barged into me. I've said to him, look, clearly, mate, you're drunk. I could smell, like, you can smell the alcohol.
Yeah, well, today, new police body cam footage showed Henry Novak's killer repeatedly lying to police officers who never cuffed him and also kept calling him mate. And...
It turns out appointing a spiteful class warrior as education secretary was a disaster.
Does anyone in this room think that Kemi Badenoch should have apologised for that? No, I didn't think so. Anyway, but Kemi is refusing to apologise. Never apologise to this lot.
By implication, you're comparing the ERG to the Nazi Party, or at least to the South African racists. Now, whatever you think about the ERG, that was an unacceptable comparison, wasn't it?
Andrew, I would say that wasn't strong enough.
It's ridiculous, isn't it? Absolutely ridiculous. Anyway, also tonight... Does anyone here care that the King and Queen won't be living at Buckingham Palace? No? OK, I was very keen because it broke last night, didn't it, that big news? Yeah, you do, good, right. Because it broke last night on the show that, you know, the King published his tax affairs and all of this stuff and then made the announcement that despite the 370 million quid refurb, they're not going to be living at Buckingham Palace. So I was keen to see what the actual public think. We'll talk about that and...
Really enjoy it. I mean, we don't get it very often, do we? So we've got to make the most of it.
I won't be out and about too much, I'll be honest with you. I'm not a big lover of the heat. I've got water with me and I've got suntan lotion, so yeah, I think it's fine.
OK, so, well, there's a heat wave and the country has gone into actual meltdown. Solar panels have melted. Wimbledon had to be called off for a bit because the courtside technology, that melted as well. Trains have been cancelled as well. Sorry to everyone who couldn't make it tonight. I got a flurry of messages from people about their trains being cancelled. So there you go. Hopefully you're watching at home. But anyway, also, this has to be an early contender for Greatest Britain.
Get back, get back. Go, 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 go. I'm going, I'm going. Go, go, go.
Yeah, I'll reveal exactly what went on there later on. On our panel tonight, we have got political commentator Chloe Dobbs. We've got broadcasting royalty Christo Fufas. We have got everybody's favourite Labour MP is Barry Gardner. That's all right. You've had worse. Anyway, and we've got businessman and activist Adam Brooks. Who I'm very pleased to say your black eye has gone down after your boxing match. So there you go. Good, mate. Well done. OK, so get ready, Britain. Here we go. OK, yeah. Thank you very much, everyone, for turning up tonight. There's loads to go out this evening. There's loads to go out. We're going to be starting with this. Illegal immigrants are about to be scattered across the British countryside. Yesterday, the government announced that they are seeking planning permission to turn former military bases in Bicester in Oxfordshire, Barnham in Suffolk, and in North Yorkshire as well, in Linton-on-Ouse, into asylum seeker accommodation. They're also going to put more illegals in RAF Wethersfield in Essex and at the Crowborough military barracks. Now, some context for you here. Linton-on-Ouse has a population of around 800 people. And in 2022, the Tories tried to put 1,500 illegal immigrants there. The plan was halted, but it looks like Labour's going to resurrect it. Barnham in Suffolk, just 600 people currently living there, apparently. Barnham is described online as a highly desirable, peaceful place to live. It is a picturesque conservation village. Well, not anymore, is it, I'm afraid? No, it's about to become an enclave of Sudan, Eritrea and Afghanistan. But the government is also expanding the detention and processing centre in Manston. Now, this is quite an important point that's gone under the radar, actually. We have this processing centre in Manston, which is for when people have kind of immediately arrived off the boat. Now, they're actually expanding that at a cost of £900 million, which is cheap because it was originally going to be £2.3 billion. That's what they wanted to charge us for it. Anyway, that's due to be completed in March 2029. So does any of this sound like they think that the small boat crossings are going to go away anytime soon to you? I don't think so, because if it did, why would you be expanding different sites, etc.? But let's have a little look, shall we, at where Labour closed some migrant hotels during the local election campaign. So if you cast your mind back, local elections not so long ago, they did close some migrant hotels. You've got a place in Blackpool, one in Wolverhampton, one in Telford, one in St Helens, Crewe, Aberdeen, Halifax, etc., etc., etc. The list goes on. Now, the majority of them, the overwhelming majority of them, were in Labour areas, or areas that Labour thought that they were within a chance of sneaking a win. And they've now announced that they're going to close 20 more. And the areas where they're moving them to, in these barracks that I've just said there, Labour is predicted to have a 0% chance of winning in Linton-on-Ouse or Bicester at the next election, and just a 10% chance in the Suffolk constituency. So can you kind of see what's going on a little bit here? Now, do you remember when Reform got in trouble for saying, I think, have we got a clip on this? Yeah, we do. There it is.
A Reform government will not put any migrant detention centres in any constituency with a Reform MP. Of the remaining areas, we will prioritise Green parliamentary constituencies and Green-controlled councils to put those migrant detention centres.
So they were criticised for that. That was unfair. But if you actually look at what Labour's doing here, it's largely the same thing, really. The asylum seeker backlog is the highest it's ever been, 123,000. Yesterday, The Telegraph revealed data from December 2024, which revealed that about 50,000 illegal migrants and foreign criminals have just gone missing. The number of appeals to failed asylum applications rose by 70% in the last year. So, look, when this goes horribly wrong, and I hate to say it, but I really do think this will go horribly wrong in some of the areas where those military bases are, in these little English towns, how does the government expect people to react? So let's get the views of our panel, and we'll go to the audience as well. Look, Adam, your take on what we're seeing here about them rolling out these new military, well, old military barracks.
Look, no one wants these men, and they are predominantly men in their areas. I'm a vocal against the Bell Hotel. Thankfully, that's been closed. But they're going to be someone else's problem now. And unfortunately, they're being moved to these barracks, which I wouldn't have a problem, and I think a lot of the residents wouldn't have a problem if they couldn't leave the barracks and that they were secure. But we are allowing men from cultures far different from our own. We've seen rapes, murders and terrible, terrible sex crimes against women and young girls. And they are plonking these men in villages where they outnumber the residents there. No one voted for this. Not one person thinks this is OK. And even the lefties that I know, they don't want it in their area. These men should be deported. We have to stop this. And look, a barracks is obviously better than an HMO. They're the dangerous ones, where they're plonking these men amongst streets of families, women and children. But a barracks, it's no use putting them all together if they can leave. The local high roads will see shoplifting. This is what we were seeing in Epping. Shoplifting, intimidation, harassment of women, defecating on the streets and on the fields. This is what we are importing. Men that do not know right from wrong, that, you know, will use our streets as the toilet if they have to, and that treat women as third-class citizens. Enough is enough, and I don't know what we need to do, because we protest, we're labelled far right. We moan or, you know, we campaign, we are labelled racist for wanting safe communities. And I don't know how we get out of this, because for me, having a human rights lawyer as the Prime Minister and now a different man taking over that seems to embrace immigration, God help us, and I'm not even religious.
Go on, Barry. What do you make of these plans to use these military barracks?
Well, you see, Adam said something that I agree with there. He said, we wanted them to close the hotels, and they've got to go somewhere. So, you know, it's always the case that when politicians say something negative, people say, well, what's your solution, right? So the government has said, OK, well, we'll close the hotels, we'll try and do our best to close the hotels, and the solution is not a perfect one. You can't just take all these people and stick them in a boat somewhere. They can't just take them back to, what was it you said, Eritrea, Afghanistan, and so on. So what are you going to do before you've managed to process them through the courts? OK? And because people said, we don't want them in hotels, they said, OK, let's look at the barracks as a solution. And then people say, well, I don't want them in my barracks. Now, the idea that this was gerrymandering, as you were saying, I mean, clearly what Sir Yusuf said was gerrymandering, because he was actually using it as a threat in the election. You know, if you don't vote reform, we'll put these in your place. This is not gerrymandering, because this is where the disused barracks are. It's not that somebody's saying, let's create a barracks somewhere and then put them in. This is where these disused barracks are.
They could fence them in, though, couldn't they?
Yeah.
I mean, a military site is probably the easiest place to do that, because it's all surrounded by barbed wire.
Patrick, that I've said before that I think there's a case for looking at that, OK? There are difficulties with doing that, because actually what you're doing, in effect, is you're saying that people should be imprisoned before they've been tried. Because if you're restricting their movement...
Yeah, but if they've come to your country illegally, yes.
Well, indeed. And that is why I've said to you before that I think there's a case for doing that, but it's a difficult case, because these are people who are awaiting a court judgment.
OK. All right. Before we go to my other two panellists, there's a chap on the front row. I think you got a point on this, have you? Yeah. That microphone next to you. No, use the microphone, mate. So there you go. Yeah.
It's being missed on here as well is the sort of proverbial middle finger to servicemen as well, who are seeing that they're not being looked after very well, but where they've trained, all of a sudden, asylum seekers being given pretty much everything.
So that would be a really important point if it weren't for the fact that this government has addressed all the... They've put through a Veterans Charter. They've actually put something like 500 million into servicemen's housing, to improving the housing for servicemen.
Started prosecuting them.
So they don't have to be in awful barracks. So actually, this government has done so much in order to improve the livelihoods of servicemen. And actually, if you look at what the government's done on that, they really have delivered for servicemen.
Just to slightly counter that, obviously, because they... I mean, one of the reasons that Al Khan's quit as Armed Forces Minister is because he's dead against the idea that some servicemen are going to be prosecuted, potentially. And we have covered a story about a centre for veterans in Bolton that has just been shut down and stuff. So look, I suppose it depends.
But you wouldn't deny that actually the government has acted where after 14 years the servicemen's housing was in a terrible state, and they put through the Veterans Charter so that actually they and their families are being much better looked after than they ever were.
They might be, but I think realistically there shouldn't be a single homeless military veteran whilst we've got the capacity for these people in those areas.
Perhaps, but, you know, I don't mean to be flippant, but, you know, they're solving the problem by prosecuting them and sending them to prison. They're not homeless anymore.
Well, there you go.
I think that I'm in favour, actually, of barracks being used, the principle of barracks being used, because I think, actually, you are right. Actually, you're both right in as much as the hotels in communities are not the way forward. But where, I mean, there's a particular... I know that there was a particular case that you were talking about. And by the way, brilliant journalism joining the dots as to where those places are and them being Labour places. I think the difference is that that Reform were just being honest about putting them in green places. Labour have just sort of not been quite so honest about where they plan on putting them. But I think that I'm in favour of the principle. The problem is that you have to have the infrastructure in a place where you put people. So you can't put them in a barracks where there is only a population of a few hundred people, because that doesn't make any sense. And also, it needs to have the support, it needs to have doctors, it needs to have dentists, it needs to have all of those sorts of things. And I know that a lot of the places where they're talking about putting these people, they don't have them. Secondly, I absolutely agree. When people come to this country, you don't know who they are. Until you know who they are and you know their background and you know that they are legitimate to be able to stay here, well, then I think that there is an argument to say that you can't have them being able to roam around. No, I'm not saying that they should be imprisoned. I'm not saying that they shouldn't have access to, medical care, health care, all of those sorts of things.
Not in the community.
But just, I think that not in the community. And if they ever are, it needs to be in some supervised sort of way.
I mean, they get treated pretty amazingly for people who have broken into a country via an illegal route. The fact that we give them anywhere to stay in the first place is pretty kind of us. I think to say you're not allowed out until your asylum claim is processed, I think is okay. The fact that we give them a chance to even apply for asylum in the first place is pretty generous. There are plenty of other countries where you would be, immediately imprisoned, perhaps beaten and tortured if you broke into the country illegally. Shot. And it's not a prison, right? These places, they've got loads of outdoor space around them typically. And I mean, as I pointed out to Barry, I mean, a military site is probably the easiest site to fence people in, because it's always surrounded by, walls and barbed wire, as a military site typically would be. So it's not exactly difficult. And I mean, it's a pretty easy thing for the government to do. That would be a huge win for them. That would stop all these huge protests and outcry, worry about the safety of girls on the streets. I thought it was pretty sad hearing today one of the girls speaking to one of our reporters saying that, I'm a teenager, I'm allowed now to walk to school by myself and go out with my friends, but now that freedom is taken away from me because I can't actually walk to school safely by myself. That would be a pretty miserable life for a teenager growing up, not to be allowed out the house because the Home Office, without consulting anyone, has just dumped a load of men without saying we're going to close the doors until your asylum claim is processed.
I just pose a question then. Would we be happy if we said, right, OK, then the government, we're happy for the government to spend X million, 50 million, to make sure all of the barracks have got, they've got gyms, they've got, I don't know, a screening room. You've got stuff for them to do within these barracks. Now, that's going to probably annoy us that they're spending all the money doing that. But in return for that, they don't leave the barracks.
Yes.
Would that be something that, like...
Around these villages and towns, there will be teenage girls. And let me just tell you now, out of all those 1,500 migrants that get put on one of those sites, those girls will be targeted, because we are importing these men from cultures where that is the norm, OK? And there's no skirting around it. And for me, if you genuinely believe that these are asylum seekers, genuine, or you believe they're refugees, you need your head tested, or you're probably a Labour or Green voter, because you have to be very naive to believe that these men, fighting-age men, are generally fleeing war or persecution. They are coming here because we are a magnet for a free house, free healthcare, and free everything else. They even tell us in interviews, yet the left deny it.
Just Barry, on this, I mean, another thing that kind of goes under the radar a bit here is actually what it does to things like property prices in local areas as well. We've seen it in Datchet, in Windsor, we've also seen it around Maidenhead, we've seen it in loads of places now, seeing it in Crowborough at the moment. There are knock-on effects to the community beyond the safety aspect, which is very important, the kind of fairness aspect of it, whether these people are allowed to roam out. It does have a huge knock-on effect to the area.
Look, the first thing I want to do is to say it doesn't help to create a culture of fear. And, of course, Adam, when you talk about the safety of young girls, there have been some appalling cases.
I've been in 2 courtrooms and listened to those girls.
There have been a number of appalling cases where that's happened. But if you take them as a percentage of the people who are in detention or in hotels, okay, it's actually a very small percent.
But the numbers that make it to court for something really serious might be small, but actually, I mean, I'm sure Adam can say so. In places like Epping, where you've had hotels, if you actually talk to the locals, they'll say, oh, there were huge groups of them sat on the street corners looking at our young girls' bums while they were walking to school.
One of my staff members, she drove a little convertible car. She told me that one of these migrants from the Bell Hotel, this was about a year, 18 months ago, tried to jump in the back of her car. This is the sort of thing that people in Epping had to deal with. And it's not just that. They used to sit there on benches drinking from alcohol that they'd stolen from the Tesco's. And they used to wolf whistle and shout vulgar things at young girls. My two nieces go to the school behind the Bell Hotel. And my cousin did not let them go to school without him driving them. That's the fear.
For a final word, Barry, then we're really going to have to move on. So you go on.
Look, what I was trying to say is, appalling as those things are, it is not the case that there is more than a very small percentage of cases that are brought to crime. But what it does do, and this is important, is it creates a climate of fear. But what I'm saying is, let's not try and engender a climate of fear.
Sorry, Barry, we will stick up for our women and our children, and one case is enough in our town. Enough is enough.
But then you have to have a solution. You can't just say, we don't want it here. And if everybody is saying, not in my backyard, not here, not
maybe
with me,
you might deport them.
Then, well, you see, that's the issue. You can't deport them until they've actually been tried.
All right, OK. Right, well, there we go. Now, Border Security and Asylum Minister Alex Norris has said, we promise to close every asylum hotel and hand them back to communities, and that is exactly what we are doing. 20 more hotels have closed and hotel numbers have more than halved since their peak. Instead, we're moving asylum seekers into ex-military sites that are a far cry from the hotels the last government left us with. OK, loads on tonight, but I do have to tell you, of course, about the latest Great British Giveaway. Oh, it's a new one. It's a new one. There you go. We're finding out about this together. It's your chance to win £60,000 in tax-free cash and a real gold bar worth more than £5,000. Here's how you can be in it to win it.
It's the Great British Giveaway Golden Summer Celebration. Your chance to win 2 fantastic prizes. There's an incredible £60,000 in tax-free cash that can make your bank account brilliant. And because it's tax-free, you get to keep every single penny. Plus, you'll also get your hands on a fine gold bar worth over £5,000. You could give that to your children, your grandchildren, or just invest it for the future. What would you do with it? Just make sure you don't miss your chance to win £60,000 cash and a fine gold bar. For a chance to win £60,000 in tax-free cash and a real gold bar, text GOLD to 63225. One entry costs £2.50 plus one standard network rate message, or text BONUS to 63225. 5 entries cost £5 plus one standard network rate message. Go to gbnews.com/win. Entries start at £2.50. Call 0903 686 3232. Calls cost £2.50 plus your network access charge, or post your name and number to GB22 PO Box 8690 Derby DE1 9TT. UK only. Entrance must be 18 or over. Lines close at 4 p.m. on the 21st of August. This is a network giveaway. Entries will be pooled. Please check the closing time if listening or watching on demand. Good luck.
OK, coming up now, Kemi Badenoch has gone all guns blazing against Keir Starmer, Bridget Phillipson, frankly anyone who wanted it really, at PMQs earlier this week. She's refused to apologise. We're going to see whether or not the audience thinks she should have done. I suspect not. That's next.
Do you trust what you're being told? Good, because neither do I.
Those are just facts.
I'm Alex Armstrong, and on my show, we'll expose the spin.
Well, I want to answer that, because you didn't let me last time, because you always speak over me.
The broken promises.
To deny that is denying the truth.
And the hypocrisy.
Needs to
stop.
You think we can allow?
Politics, policy, Parliament. Nothing is off limits. No sugarcoating, no fear of offence, just the truth laid bare. Tune in every Saturday and Sunday at 9 p.m. for Alex Armstrong Tonight, only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
At GB News, we love to hear from you, our loyal community. So drop us a line at gbnews.com/yoursay. There you can talk to each other and also to the presenters live on air gbnews.com/yoursay, because GB News is your channel, Britain's news channel.
Westminster's full of talk, but out here, it's the real world.
Am I allowed to talk now?
No, that's it. This is where it matters, real people and real lives. That's what politics is all about.
In fact, Trump made a good start. No.
Straight answers, no spin, and just a couple of pints.
How many fingers have I got up? About 10.
So join me for Lee Anderson's Real World every Friday at 7 p.m. only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
From the school run to the home run, watch a new show for all of Britain.
He can say whatever he wants.
A straight talking show where all voices are heard.
And, you know, when are we going to stop talking about smashing the gangs and actually do it?
With the stories that matter from every part of our country.
There's a bit of a crash landing there for your Chancellor.
Bold, fearless and standing up for you. That's me, Martin Daubney, 3 p.m. till 6 p.m, weekdays, here only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Breaking news, live updates, stories that matter.
From the heart of the GB newsroom to every corner of Britain, with our team of dedicated journalists across the UK.
GB News bulletins are there to deliver the latest news that matters to you. Bulletins on GB News,
The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Some people enjoy lazy Sunday mornings, but not me.
What's the truth of the matter? So that's a very live question. Would you support him if he waters down these plans?
Before the spin sets in, I'll be getting to the truth.
This is personal.
No soft questions, no easy answers.
It's one thing if the state has rules in this country. It's another thing whether the police and others actually police them.
Setting the agenda and holding those in power to account.
You can't really blame her if the system is set up this way. You will not want to miss it, trust me.
The Camilla Tominey Show, Sundays from 9:30, only on GB News.
All right, welcome back, everybody. Thank you very much. So, Kemi Badenoch is refusing to apologise for her fiery language directed at Sir Keir Starmer, Bridget Phillipson. I mean, she teed off on Ed Miliband. It was like non-stop. It's like when you had 10 pints at Wetherspoons. Like, anyone can get it. Anyway, take a look.
She taxed private schools to pay for more teachers, but the number of teachers has gone down. It turns out appointing a spiteful class warrior as education secretary was a disaster.
Well, the Conservative leader has been facing criticism from some MPs. I mean, one of them, for example, was David Lammy, who said, oh, you know, she attacked Bridget Phillipson. Oh, no. This is the same David Lammy who in 2019 said this about Brexiteer MPs.
By implication, you're comparing the ERG to the Nazi Party, or at least to the South African racists. Now, whatever you think about the ERG, that was an unacceptable comparison, wasn't it?
Andrew, I would say that wasn't strong enough.
Seriously, what can be stronger than that? Did you think about it as well? Like, what is stronger than the Nazis or the South African racists? You know what I mean? Like, how can you... Anyway. But, yeah, I mean, he's also said that Nigel Farage flirted with the Hitler Youth. We're going to play you another clip in a minute. Angela Rayner was accused of calling a Tory MP scum in the House of Commons and then also called a load of Tories scum during quite a boozy fringe event at the Labour conference. The list goes on. But Kemi Badenoch is obviously not the first politician to dish it out, is she? Should she apologise, though? Christo?
Oh, well, hang on. You've missed out a really important detail in this. Where did Bridget Phillipson grow up? What kind of house did she have when she was growing up?
She likes to remind everyone that she grew up in a council estate.
She grew up in a council estate? Oh, my God, why didn't she say? Why didn't every single MP that has basically responded to this from Labour say? Because that has been their response. The response hasn't been, she's doing a really, really good job. The response has been, she grew up in a council house. How dare you say this about her? Like... what kind of defence is that? And how is it that calling someone spiteful is worse than all of the things that you've just gone through? That is the problem. It's the hypocrisy. I think that Kemi Badenoch is on fire. She is just getting better and better. And I know well, you know, there are loads about the Tories that we're finding difficult to forgive, and I understand that, but I'm sorry, she's starting to look like a Prime Minister in waiting.
Do people generally think that Kemi's getting better? Is that the There's a feeling here,
I mean, she is, but it's far too late. She needed to be like this out the starting blocks as soon as Keir Starmer came in.
Thatcher was rubbish the first 2 years. Thatcher was rubbish the first 2 years in Prime Minister's questions. Then she became the best Prime Minister we've ever had. Long live Margaret Thatcher.
But at least she was Prime Minister. She wasn't, in opposition in the polls, polling behind all the parties.
But she was at first. She was
single percentage points of votes in by-elections, barely getting their deposit back, right? It's, she said at the beginning, oh, it's a marathon, not a sprint, but she kind of did need to sprint it a bit. I mean, it's not like there's been a lack of material to criticise Starmer on. I mean, from the moment he came into power, kicking off with the whole Lord Ali saga, the glasses and everything, I mean, it just didn't stop. But she was so weak. And then finally, when the Conservatives are finally, basically extinct, she decides, oh, I'm going to get good at PMQs now.
There's a clip here. This is the Angela Rayner clip I was talking about. It's not the one where she calls, I think it was Boris Johnson and old Etonians and basically the Tories, what was it? Banana Republic, misogynistic, homophobic, racist pieces of scum. It's not that one. This is one she actually did in the House of Commons, I believe.
And I know she speaks for a lot of her front-bench colleagues when she says that. You just need to see it in the support, U-turn, oppose approach that's characterised their hindsight-heavy behaviour. But, excuse me, did the Honourable Lady just call me scum?
Order! 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 Order!
Yeah. So she did. So Barry, why is it that Kemi Badenoch has to apologise for calling Bridget Phillipson spiteful, which many people think she is? But Labour have been dishing it out for years.
It's very different what you say in the House of Commons to what you say out of it, OK? There are rules of behaviour in the House of Commons that you have to observe, and the Speaker will pick you up, as you saw there, the Deputy Speaker on that occasion going, order, order, you're not allowed to say that. And it's governed by a book that's about this thick called Erskine May, who was the original author of it about 100 years ago. And in that, it says moderation, what is it? Moderation and good temper are the characteristics of parliamentary language. And the reason for that is that you're supposed to have a debate. Now, we have a debate here, and Adam and I will often disagree with each other, but we treat each other with respect. We'll disagree violently, politically, but we treat each other with respect, and that is the characteristic of good debate. And I think it's really wrong if in Parliament, particularly at Prime Minister's question time, OK, which is the sort of centrepiece of the parliamentary week, it's the most tuned into bit of Parliament, I think it's wrong if the impression that we're giving to the public is it's all right to name call. And I think on the whole, people don't want to see their politicians calling each other scum or calling each other spiteful or this or that.
I don't think the word spiteful is a bad word.
Yeah. Good temper, right? Good temper and moderation. So I just think people want to see their politicians debating the issue.
All right, can I just
and they don't
say
want
as well,
to see each other abusing.
Hannah Spencer of the Green Party called Reform MPs dirty and grubby.
And I've watched that clip before I come on. When she said that Reform Party were dirty and grubby, all of Labour laughed and cheered. Now, you can't have it both ways. For me, the left are what they accuse others of. It's one rule for the left and another for the right. They think they cannot be wrong. They think that their behaviour, they can do what they want because they're the good guys. Well, let me tell you not now. Some of the most spiteful and horrible messages I get on the internet are from lefties, OK? They are some vile, vile people on the left, but they still think and believe that they're on the right side and they are the good guys.
Adam, let me tell you, I don't actually go on to my X and read the things anymore because it happens on both sides, OK? But let's face it, there are idiots on both sides, who are on social media simply to troll people, simply to be abusive, and most of them, well, I'm not going to abuse them on the television, but, they are certainly not good examples of moderation and good temper. But politicians, when they're in the showcase of the House of Commons, the debating chamber of the nation, I think should show moderation, good temper.
Well, there we go. We'll see what happens. I mean, Kemi's not going to apologise, is she? I don't know. I can't help but feel as though for a lot of people, not including Barry here, but for a lot of people on the left, it's like when you've lost the argument, they go after your language, and it's like,
shut you down.
Where did Bridget Phillipson grow up again?
She's in a council house.
Council house.
Yeah.
Oh, thank you. I forgot.
Because that is another thing that really winds me up, actually. Sorry, I know I've got to go. I'm being shouted at my ear, but that really winds me up. Because, like, there are so many people that I knew growing up. I mean, I was born on Europe's largest council estate in Wythenshawe. There are so many people that I knew growing up who grew up on council estates who turned out so much better. The idea that, like, you can't criticise someone because they're born on the council estate, I just find it absolutely insane. Anyway, next, isn't it our first heat wave of the year? And the rest of the world seems to manage, though. So why is Britain not prepared for hot weather? I've got a cracking clip for you to show you how China is getting on in the heat wave, actually, which is radically different. Radically different. So we're going to play that in just a second.
I hope we haven't forgotten anything.
Travel insurance, I tick that box.
Yeah, but remember what you forgot last year.
All Clear Travel Insurance sponsors GBNews Travel Destinations Forecast.
Looking ahead to the weekend, and the historic heat across some parts of Europe will continue. Over more southern areas, it's not as exceptionally hot here, but nonetheless, it will feel pretty hot with all the sunshine around. Worth bearing in mind, we have high humidity as well, and with the hot and sunny weather, that will allow for a few showers to develop, and if they do, they could turn heavy and also thundery. But generally, the theme is for lots of dry, sunny weather to come as we go through into next week.
All Clear Travel Insurance sponsors GBNews Travel Destinations Forecast.
Hello again, very good evening to you. I'm back with your GB News weather update coming to you from the Met Office. We still have an extreme heat warning out, an amber one across some eastern parts of England through Saturday. Whilst there is fresher air coming in, some of that residual heat is trapped across some eastern parts, so still uncomfortably hot and humid here. Further north and west, a big talking point, the thunderstorms. A lot of the ones over northern England, Northern Ireland, they're clearing through at the moment, but across parts of Scotland, the thundery risk continues into the early hours of tomorrow morning, and also we will then see a few showers developing in parts of the southeast. A lot of dry weather in between across the bulk of England and Wales. Still warm and humid towards eastern parts, but further north and west a bit fresher, a bit more comfortable than some recent nights perhaps. Then into tomorrow morning, well, a cloudy start across much of Scotland. A bit of sunshine perhaps towards the northeast, but yes, generally quite grey. There will be some rain around, but it's not looking as heavy or as thundery as what we're seeing at the moment and overnight. Also across Northern Ireland, bit of cloud, bit of rain towards the west in particular, and down the western side of England and also Wales. Bit of cloud here, some rain pushing through at times, but it's not a total washout by any means. Across more central eastern parts of England, it's a brighter, sunnier start to the day, and really through the day itself, we have a northwest-southeast split, staying quite cloudy, outbreaks of rain, a fresher breeze towards the northwest, drier and sunnier towards the southeast, but some showers pushing into some southeastern parts later. These could turn heavy and thundery. Still hot in the east, but not as hot as it has been, and temperatures towards the north and west, well, mid-20s really for many here. Into Sunday, and we have some cloudy wet weather sweeping its way eastwards. It's not particularly heavy rain or all that persistent, but most of us will see some outbreaks of rain, but there should be some brighter, sunnier weather around as well, and temperatures, well, they're going to be so much more comfortable for many of us than they have been recently, dropping to much closer to average for the time of year. Bye-bye.
You want to know what's really going on in the corridors of power? Labour don't know what to do with you half the time, and that makes you quite lethal in the chamber. Get behind the headlines with Chopper's Political Podcast. Join me, Christopher Hope, as I sit down with the great and the good of British politics. We'll see where this ruling takes us. These are the stories shaping our nation. Chopper's Political Podcast, available now on all platforms. Listen in and stay ahead.
I've been in Westminster for a long time, but I know that though power may be here, its effect on people's lives is across the whole of the country. We may be where rules are made, but it's where they're implemented that matters. Join me, Jacob Rees-Mogg, for forthright and frank discussion on where Britain has come from, where it's going, and where it will end up. That's State of the Nation, Monday to Thursday, 8 to 9 o'clock. Vox Populi, Vox Dei.
OK, so another record broken for the hottest June day in the UK. We've done the hat-trick now, haven't we? 3 days in a row. And temperatures have soared to 36.9 degrees in, I think this is Wattisham. Sorry if I've mispronounced Wattisham, in Suffolk. But as Britain swelters through yet another heat wave, once again, the country's infrastructure is struggling to cope. We've had train delays, overheated tracks. We've had people being told they can't use air conditioning and all sorts. They cancelled an event at Wimbledon as well because they sacked the human line judges and replaced them with a computer, and the computer boiled, so that didn't work. Meanwhile, in China, and what you'll see on some of your screens if you're watching there now, is that new residential homes in China, in fact entire communities, have got outdoor mist controlling systems. So that everyone in there is all right, everyone walking around underneath is OK, and they lower the temperature by several degrees. So look, why is Britain just uniquely bad at dealing with in this case, hot weather, but it's like, it's all weather, isn't it? And Christo, you're doing something. You right there?
A little fan.
Oh,
this is all
right.
you need, right?
Yeah.
You just have a little fan.
He's going to cool down the whole of Britain with that little thing.
It's actually your biggest fan.
Yeah. It's my only fan. My only fan.
Nice.
So
don't ever
Hopefully
go
he
on
doesn't
that
do
website.
OnlyFans as well.
I never want to see you on that website.
the thing is,
why are you on it? No, go on, sorry.
But the thing is, oh, hang on, hang on. The thing is, of course, it takes the white and the liquid.
You know,
off
we're
your
live
arms.
on television right now. This is live on TV, yeah.
But, you know, the thing is, though, that genuinely, we are a basket case.
Right.
We are, because what you should be able to do is adapt, right? We are so obsessed with safety in this country. I blame Labour for this, by the way, Barry, it's your fault. But we're obsessed with safety. We're obsessed with, like, everyone's going to die at some point of something, rather than what they do. I obviously am Greek, right, in heritage, and in Greece they adapt. You know, they move things to, like, 7 in the morning, and then they have a siesta in the afternoon, because life has to go on. Here, we have a complete meltdown. We tell everyone that they're going to die. We don't tell everyone how to adapt, and we just absolutely, like, our life stops. Meanwhile, we're not allowed to use air conditioning. I mean, all of the people telling us that we're all going to die from heat exhaustion don't want us using air conditioning because they say that climate change is also going to kill us. Can we have a day where we're not told something's going to kill us, please?
And they always tell us in the summer that we're not allowed to use the hose pipes either.
Yes.
Oh, there is a hose pipe.
I don't think it's coming.
South
yet.
East, I think.
But it will. It will. And when it's the hottest, one of the hottest days of the year, and you want to get the swimming pool out, or at least, you know, just sprinkle a bit of water on yourself and the dogs in the garden. Nope, you can't. The police will come and take you away.
I will not tolerate a dry pansy in my garden.
The jokes write themselves. The jokes write themselves. No, but also I've always wondered with these hosepipe bans, who polices them? Is that just neighbours snitching on you?
Yeah.
Because like you don't actually see a bobby on the beat, do you? That they come round and go, oh, hosepipe, I can see that. That has to be like Doreen for a number of seasons. Oh, actually, they've used the hosepipe again, haven't they?
But I mean, the Karens who are sat at home, retired or on the dole with nothing to do, I mean, they love this. I mean, remember during COVID, I mean, people were so excited. Oh, I've seen my neighbour's got a mate round the garden. Let me call the coppers over. I mean, people get such a power kick out of this.
Barry, go on.
No, when they're going past Christys' garden, it's is that a hose pipe you're holding, sir, or are you just having a tinkle in the garden?
Barry! Oh,
I never thought that would
I'm
come
telling
out
you
of
that,
Barry's
Barry,
mouth.
at my age, it's not going to be a very powerful flow.
Hello, if you just tuned in, this is the last show we'll ever do. Brilliant, thank you so much.
It's past 9 o'clock. It's past 9 o'clock.
Well, I think people are trying to pretend, and a lot of the MPs with this climate alarmism, there's a narrative to it. Let's remember, net zero, it's a vehicle to tax us more, it's a vehicle to control our movements. In 1911, we had a heat wave that lasted 6 to 8 weeks. There was something like 15 or 20 days over 30 degrees. Life went on. But they have to create this alarmism. We're all going to die because of the heat. Why don't they talk about the winter of 24-25 when 2,500 people died of the cold? It's funny, isn't it? They never want to create alarmism when it's the cold. No, because they like to push that the world is getting hotter and we're all going to burn, we're all going to die. Just have that in your mind, that this net zero agenda is to scare you.
OK,
And that's all I would say.
why do the Chinese do it better than us? That was what you asked at the beginning. Well, we all don't need to worry, do we? Because Nigel Farage has told us that climate change doesn't exist. Adam has just pretty much said the same thing. But actually, China have just spent $818 billion on renewables. They now have
So
more...
they sell to Ed Miliband, buy all their solar panels.
No, it's where they create their energy. Their energy is now coming 51% from renewables and 49% from fossil fuels. So they are transitioning and they're adapting because we need to do both. It's not good enough simply to say, oh, well, we've got to lower emissions, and in this country we only constitute, like less than 1% of the world's emissions.
Yeah.
We've got to adapt.
Barry, let's not pretend.
And you said that nobody is adapting, Christo. In fact, if you look at the Committee on Climate Change's recent report called A Well-Adapted UK, it's talking about precisely how we should be doing that. And if we are going to be able to cool people down and be able to insulate them in the winter, because it isn't just about everything getting hotter, it's about changing weather patterns, it's about increasing... You saw the lightning, the sheet lightning the other night in the middle of the night after the hottest day. So it's changing weather patterns, and we have to adapt.
Extreme weather events are fewer in number than they were years ago.
I'm sorry, no, you're wrong. And the Met Office, I'm sorry, you are. The Met Office on Monday held a conference which I went to, and they showed you all the summer temperatures going back to 1884. The top 3 have been in the past 5 years, and actually they then projected what was going to happen by 2056 if we didn't do something.
I've got some breaking news.
And it was 45
Barry, sorry, I've
degree
got some breaking news spring, so we're going to have to put a pin in this for now. And the breaking news that's just come into us here is that the Americans have just conducted strikes on Iran in response to an attack on a commercial vessel. Central Command said in a statement that the US aircraft struck Iranian missile and drone storage locations and coastal radar sites after Tehran's attack on a commercial ship in the Strait of Hormuz. This comes just days after the two countries entered peace negotiations and a ceasefire. So just to reiterate, news that just come through to us in the last few moments is that America has now conducted strikes on Iranian soil for the first time in a little while after Iran apparently attacked a commercial ship. More on that as we get it. Coming up in just a moment, the King has confirmed that he will never live in Buckingham Palace, and seemingly neither will his successors. Interesting, given that we've just paid 370 million quid to do it up. Do we think he should be living there or not? We'll talk about that when we come back.
This is GB News, Britain's news channel.
The final preparations before a world first. At RAF Wittering in Cambridgeshire, these JCB mechanics and engineers are attempting to rewrite history, chasing a world land speed record with a hydrogen car. The JCB Hydromax puts out 1,600 horsepower, powered entirely by 2 hydrogen-fuelled internal combustion engines. The 32-foot-long vehicle is trying to beat JCB's existing record, which was achieved with a diesel engine back in 2006. It reached a speed of over 350 miles an hour. For chairman of JCB Lord Bamford, the new car is about pushing the boundaries of new technology.
GB News, the People's Channel. This is GB News, Britain's news channel.
Father's Day has long been a fixture in the family calendar. But as household budgets remain under pressure, some are questioning whether the tradition of buying gifts is beginning to fade. Jim Cox has worked in the gift-giving industry for more than 30 years and says Father's Day simply isn't the draw it once was.
We're kind of reliant on the big gifting period. Father's Day is probably the weakest of the bigger gifting events. It's picked up a bit this week, but probably not as much as I would expect. And I think generally people, average basket size isn't really where I'd want it either. So I think people are spending a bit less, being a bit careful, and also thinking general trend in gifting is thinking maybe about experiences and spending time with people.
GB News, the People's Channel. GB News Breakfast, every day from 6 a.m.
What does it do for people who are wounded, injured or sick veterans? What does it do for them to do this sort of voyage on this wonderful sailing ship?
Good morning. It is that human impact, and that's why Turn to Starboard exists, and even at the Invictus Games, Birmingham 2027. It's about giving people maybe a reset, maybe seeing, taking that breath, but also a bit of camaraderie as well. Literally everybody's in the same boat. The blue environment is completely different. Everything is different on a boat. Walking, sitting down, making a cup of tea, even going to the loo is slightly different. So we can give people a break from sort of the pressures of life.
GB News, the People's Channel.
Have we got any monarchists in? Any people who are unashamedly pro-monarchy? People, yeah, okay. Oh, did like the Queen. I think that is a pretty universal view. That's anyway. Right, because I asked this because last night the King went to the unprecedented step of publishing some of his tax accounts and also revealing that he's not going to be living at Buckingham Palace, despite the fact that the taxpayer has spent about £369 million doing it up, and we were told that he was going to live there. So, does it really matter where the King lives? What do we think the fallout from this tax revelation is going to be? Before I go to the audience, Adam, do you care that the King's not living at Buckingham Palace?
Yeah, look, I grew up liking the Queen because my nan adored the Queen, so I've got a fondness for the royal family sort of as a whole. But since King Charles has come to the front, I've got no interest. I don't follow the royals. I don't like him, if I'm honest. I think he's woke. But I grew up knowing that Buckingham Palace was where the King or the Queen lived. And I think if we're going to spend this money, and look, let's remember, the royal family generates hundreds and hundreds of millions of pounds in tourism to this country. I think if we're going to spend these hundreds of millions on Buckingham Palace, the King should do the right thing and live there. Okay. Because that's why Americans and Chinese and people from across the world want to come and see it, where he lives.
OK, there's someone in the audience who's got a microphone, I believe, I'm being told. Can you stand up? Yeah, do you want to stand up and make a point on this, sir? What do you think about it?
As the King ain't going to live in Buckingham Palace, how many migrants would I fit in there?
Right, OK. Well, I suppose, yeah. I mean, that would be one way of solving the problem, wouldn't it, in a way? But yeah.
Or Gary Lineker's houses.
Or Gary Lineker's. Yeah. Well, it's funny you should say that. It's funny you should say that because actually, breaking news we're going to cover in the next hour, so not now, but in the next hour, this has just come through. Shabana Mahmood will next week announce a Ukrainian-style sponsorship scheme for households and communities to bring thousands of refugees to the UK from conflict zones around the world. That news has just landed in front of me a couple of minutes ago. So again, what could go wrong? But anyway, yes. So okay, Christo, you do you care about where the King lives? What do you think about the tax revelations?
Yeah. Well, firstly, I think that there's nothing to be gained from him publishing his tax revelations. I think because I think that if he does publish them, everyone will say, well, look, he's getting too much money and we shouldn't be giving it to him. If he doesn't publish them, then everyone will say, all the people that dislike him anyway will say, well, why isn't he publishing them? There is nothing to be gained. It's not a win. There is nothing to win from it. So I wouldn't do it. I agree with you. I think it's outrageous he's not going to live in Buckingham Palace. I would remove the throne from him. I would have him. Honestly, OK, I won't go that far, but I think it is outrageous because that is where the monarch lives. Yeah. The Queen and Prince Philip, they wanted to not live in Buckingham Palace, and she had to. She knew that was her duty. I like to see the royal standard flying because that's when you know that they're in or they're not in. What is the point of them not living there?
I think the communication around this has been quite poor, and I think the King. I've said this a few times, but I do think the King needs to sack whoever his kind of communications advisors are on various different fronts. There was the Ngozi Fulani situation. People remember when she turned up in the African dress and they ended up apologising to her over all sorts of stuff. We've done, his messages for Ramadan and not really Easter and all of this stuff, and I don't get what he's doing. And I think they should have said from the get-go, look, actually, this is going to be more of a public building, we're going to increase public access, going to be more of an office, but they let us believe, Barry, that this money is going to go towards him living there.
Look, nobody thinks that all that money was spent on Buckingham Palace because he needed 233 bedrooms, right? There's lots of people who work there, who are connected with all the state paraphernalia when you're visiting dignitaries and all the rest of it. It's a place where the sovereign meets with the Prime Minister. It's the place where the sovereign meets all the visiting dignitaries. But I actually do think it would be right for them to live there. I've grown up with the same feelings. I've had the huge privilege of meeting Her Majesty, the late Queen, for whom I had the most enormous respect. And I have had the privilege of meeting him, and I have great respect for him as well. Okay. But I would like to see our sovereign in the palace, because that's the palace.
Yeah. Okay. Sorry, Chloe, we're a bit out of time for this section, but we'll be on one of the front pages, so I'll get your views on the monarchy shortly. And but yes, right. Well, look, there's loads more in the next hour. So they've got this criminals release, which we're going to be talking about. There's also new body cam footage of the Henry Novak murder, and there is going to be some embargoed news coming out from the Home Office, which I think you're all going to be intrigued by. That's next.
Expect warm spells with the odd rude interruption. Box Boiler sponsors the weather on GB News.
Hello again. Very good evening to you. I'm back with your GB News weather update coming to you from the Met Office. We still have an extreme heat warning out, an amber one across some eastern parts of England through Saturday. Whilst there is fresher air coming in, some of that residual heat is trapped across some eastern parts, so still uncomfortably hot and humid here. Further north and west, a big talking point, the thunderstorms. A lot of the ones over northern England, Northern Ireland, they're clearing through at the moment, but across parts of Scotland, the thundery risk continues into the early hours of tomorrow morning, and also we will then see a few showers developing in parts of the southeast. A lot of dry weather in between across the bulk of England and Wales. Still warm and humid towards eastern parts, but further north and west a bit fresher, a bit more comfortable than some recent nights perhaps. Then into tomorrow morning, well, a cloudy start across much of Scotland. A bit of sunshine perhaps towards the northeast, but yes, generally quite grey. There will be some rain around, but it's not looking as heavy or as thundery as what we're seeing at the moment and overnight. Also across Northern Ireland, bit of cloud, bit of rain towards the west in particular, and down the western side of England and also Wales. Bit of cloud here, some rain pushing through at times, but it's not a total washout by any means. Across more central eastern parts of England, it's a brighter, sunnier start to the day, and really through the day itself, we have a northwest-southeast split, staying quite cloudy, outbreaks of rain, a fresher breeze towards the northwest, drier and sunnier towards the southeast, but some showers pushing into some southeastern parts later. These could turn heavy and thundery. Still hot in the east, but not as hot as it has been, and temperatures towards the north and west, well, mid-20s really for many here. Into Sunday, and we have some cloudy wet weather sweeping its way eastwards. It's not particularly heavy rain or all that persistent, but most of us will see some outbreaks of rain, but there should be some brighter, sunnier weather around as well, and temperatures, well, they're going to be so much more comfortable for many of us than they have been recently, dropping to much closer to average for the time of year. Bye-bye.
Expect warm spells with the odd rude interruption. Box Boiler sponsors the weather on GB News.
We're celebrating a golden summer with a terrific two-part Great British giveaway. First, you could win a sensational £60,000 in tax-free cash. And that's not all, as you'll also win our most precious prize to date, a fine gold bar worth over £5,000. For a chance to win, text GOLD to 63225. One entry costs £2.50 plus one standard network rate message. Or text BONUS to 63225. 5 entries cost £5 plus one standard network rate message. Go to gbnews.com/win. Entry start at £2.50. Call 0903 686 3232. Calls cost £2.50 plus your network access charge. Or post your name and number to GB22 PO Box 8690 Derby DE1 9TT. UK only. Entrance must be 18 or over. Lines close at 4 p.m. on the 21st of August. This is a network giveaway. Entries will be pulled. Please check the closing time if listening or watching on demand. Good luck.
I've been in Westminster for a long time, but I know that though power may be here, its effect on people's lives is across the whole of the country. We may be where rules are made, but it's where they're implemented that matters. Join me, Jacob Rees-Mogg, for forthright and frank discussion on where Britain has come from, where it's going, and where it will end up. That's State of the Nation, Monday to Thursday, 8 to 9 o'clock. Vox Populi, Vox Dei.
Join me, Nana Akwe, for an informative, interactive news programme with a difference. It's fun.
No, he didn't say that, Dave.
I'm so surprised.
I think there's an element of truth to that.
Join me from 3 p.m. every weekend, only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
Welcome to Free Speech Nation with me, Josh Howard. This is the show where each week we see what's happening in the world of culture, current affairs and politics.
First we'll say, welcome to the UK. Oh, thank you.
And we're not afraid to use our free speech so that you can use yours.
It's not controversial in the slightest to anyone who hasn't lost their mind.
Free Speech Nation, Sunday nights at 7 p.m. Only on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
5 hosts, 5 opinions, 5 fearless debates,
5 unfiltered takes on the day's news.
5 reasons not to be anywhere else on Saturday night.
This is the Saturday 5.
You got me. You got me good there.
Britain's biggest Saturday night TV show.
It's not a bad brand.
Yeah.
Uncensored.
Very, very, very easy tonight on the unpredictable.
What did she say? Can you translate it for us?
And always entertaining.
And how can a country go from being led by William Wallace Saturday nights from 6 p.m. only on GB News, the People's Channel.
Britain's news channel.
You're going to want to stay tuned, trust me.
Good evening, everybody. Thank you very much to my audience. So it's 10 p.m. I'm Patrick Christys. Tonight. Free the Mandem, yes. Killers and rapists are going to be set to be released early, as well as people who've committed GBH, all sorts of things. Exactly the group of people that Labour said they were not going to let out early. But anyway, what could go wrong? And
like I said, so I was literally just walking here and I seen him. He's then barged into me. I've said to him, look, clearly, mate, you're drunk. I could smell, like, you can smell the alcohol.
yeah, so new police body cam footage shows Henry Novak's killer, Vikram Digwar, repeatedly lying to the police, who never cuffed him and kept calling him mate. And as well, not to be too graphic about it, but the other thing about that clip is that Henry Novak is actually receiving CPR behind him whilst he's lying to the police. Just such an awful person. And... Yes, well, obviously that is the story there about the King now not living at Buckingham Palace, but there is a story on tomorrow's Sun newspaper front page, so Saturday's edition of the Sun. Prince Harry to bring his children with him and Meghan to Britain so that they can visit Diana's grave, apparently. That's one of the reasons for the UK trip, which is next month, so they've got the exclusive on that. And...
really enjoy it. I mean, we don't get it very often, do we? So we've got to make the most of it.
I won't be out and about too much, I'll be honest with you. I'm not a big lover of the heat.
I've got water with me and I've got suntan lotion, so yeah, I think it's fine.
Well, I wonder if we're going to go for the fourth day in a row, the record day. We'll have to wait and see, but some newspapers are leading with big pictures of people messing around in the water today, and I can't wait for Greatest Britain Union Jackass, because this, I think, is in with a real chance of winning Greatest Britain.
Get back, get back. Go, 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 go. I'm going, I'm going. Go, go, go.
Now, if you've not got any idea what's going on there, I will tell you later, don't worry. And if we bring up a copy of tomorrow's Daily Telegraph front page, this is just an incredibly weird story. Sarah Ferguson visited Jeffrey Epstein twice whilst he was in prison. So, I mean, this has just come out now. She was imprisoned for a child sex offence, and she actually travelled to prison in America to go and see him. Like, it's just weird, isn't it? Why do that? Also, we're going to be introducing my panel now. Yes, that's right. Political commentator Chloe Dobbs joins us this evening. And we've got broadcasting royalty Christo Fufa. We've got everyone's favourite Labour MP, it's Barry Gardner. Oh. And businessman and activist Adam Brooks. OK, so get ready, Britain. Here we go. All right, well, thank you very much to everyone who's made the journey to be here. Now, huge news this. Labour is about to let a load of killers and rapists out of prison early. Around 7,000 prisoners are set for early release. Criminals jailed for a total of 15 years for offences such as manslaughter or rape could now be freed after 7.5 years rather than 10 years under the current system, provided that they are, of course, assessed to have behaved well and not committed any serious rule breaches whilst in prison. Criminals convicted of burglary, theft, assault and repeated shoplifting will also be freed as little as a third of the way through their sentences rather than the current 40%, again, provided that they've not breached any rules behind bars. Now, it's understood that the first 700 offenders to be released during this latest scheme will be freed in September, followed by similar numbers for each of the next 9 months. I mean, look, it worked so well last time, didn't it? Look at this lot celebrate one of their friends being let out of prison early. Yeah, I mean, you can almost smell the cannabis through the screen there as well, can't you? But, do you remember when this happened? Yeah, I mean, crime obviously did pay him quite well, didn't it, really? Out of prison, straight in a nice car. Was it a Bentley or a Roller that? I think it was a Rolls Royce, was it? Oh, yeah, anyway. Yeah, I mean, it's ridiculous. Also, we're letting people out early, obviously, as we know, but it seems that people are just escaping too.
Earlier when we were reporting, we saw a man appear on top of this fence, which you can see in the distance, which is topped with barbed wire. He jumped down to where a black vehicle was waiting for him with the car door open. He hopped in the vehicle and the vehicle left at speed. Now, the police are now investigating and the prison have told us that a roll call will now need to take place to try and determine exactly which prisoner it is that's managed to escape from HMP Kirkham.
The last time I checked, which admittedly was a couple of months ago, they still haven't got him. They still haven't got him. So we had a camera crew out there, we were covering the early release scheme, and a bloke just hopped the fence. It's mad. Of course, there have been times that they've let people out by mistake, so, you know, they've not escaped, they've just released the wrong person. And David Lammy, naturally, has had no idea about it.
Can he reassure the House that since Kabatu was released, no other asylum-seeking offender has been accidentally let out of prison?
Of course I apologise, and I'm sorry.
I'm going to ask him the question again. Can he reassure the House that since Kabatu was released, no other asylum-seeking offender has been accidentally let out of prison? It's a very specific question for him to answer.
I put in place the toughest checks we've ever had in the prison system.
Can he reassure the House that since Kabatu was released, no other asylum-seeking offender has been accidentally let out of prison?
I know I'm the Justice Secretary, that's why I'm at the dispatch box, also as Deputy Prime Minister.
It's the fact that he lost it, isn't it? It's just like, yeah, anyway. That did refer to this guy who was an Algerian sex offender released by mistake. And who could forget the Ethiopian child sex offender Hadush Kabatu, who was just found wandering around the streets of Chelmsford before going on a walking tour of London, finding a natty little avocado tote bag and visiting a library before eventually being caught in a park. Apparently, he even tried to hand himself into police officers who refused to let him return to prison. I mean, come on. Then we paid him to go back to Ethiopia. Remarkable story. Of course, there was this guy as well. I mean, not the nicest looking chap in the world, to be fair. He was in prison for assaulting his ex-partner. He was released under the early release scheme last time, and he was arrested 24 hours later for immediately targeting her again. Look, we need prison space. Yes, no one can deny that we need prison space. But apparently 12% of prisoners are foreign nationals, including this guy. The infamous Madapasa, yes, the Afghan small boat migrant who threatened to kill Nigel Farage and marry his sister. He's currently in prison. I don't even know if Nigel has a sister, to be fair, but couldn't we just free up some space by deporting those people? It is another example, I think anyway, of Labour playing roulette with our lives. Let's get the views of my panel and the audience as well. Chloe, I'll come to you first on this. So what do you reckon to this latest early release scheme?
I mean, it is just endangering society. We've got crime going through the roof as it is. Do we really need more criminals let out onto the streets? And look, I sympathise with them a bit for what they inherited from the Tories, but they can't just keep using that as an excuse. Yes, the Tories failed to refurbish prisons, stop them from crumbling and to build some new ones, but they can't just keep blaming the Tories for everything. They are the ones who decided to release a load of people early whilst they were having people going into prison for things like tweets. We've got 12,000 people a year being arrested for offensive online posts. Why on earth is that still happening if we're in a position where we're having to release murderers and rapists from prison? Also, if they really do have to release some people early, why aren't they prioritising, foreign criminals first? Yes, they'll say, oh, we're doing that on the side. Why not make that a priority and say, all of those, you're all going, even if you can't send them back to Afghanistan, send them somewhere, and then send the people who have done, lower level crimes. Say the people who are actually really dangerous, we shouldn't be letting them out. Also, the other thing is, just like with the migrant hotels and barracks, they say, the best way not to annoy people is we just won't tell anyone that we're doing it. They've got the same approach with this, in that when they did a load of early releases last time, they didn't tell the victims that their perpetrators were being let out early. They ended up often finding out about it in the press, and then suddenly they're terrified, this guy could turn up on my doorstep tomorrow, and the government hasn't warned me that's happening, but they think, people won't kick off as much if we just don't tell them. Just like how we've had, as I said, with the migrant centres, Lindsay Hoyle having to kick off at Labour for being completely unacceptable by not allowing MPs to know about and scrutinise a load of illegal migrants turning up in people's communities.
There is a lady in the audience who's got a point to make on this, I think. Would you like to stand up and say your piece? Go on.
All right, then. It doesn't make sense at all, does it, really? They're going to reoffend, and it's going to make it dreadful for the people, the young girls out there, the women, if they're rapists. They will behave themselves in prison because they want to get out and just do it again. And really, it's just like letting Dracula loose in a blood bank, because they will have all the opportunities to reoffend. So what's the rationale to it all?
Yeah, they say it's to free up space. I mean, we do need to free up space, but go on, Barry, you want to come back to that?
Look, the point you make could be the same at any point where you release a prisoner, OK? And prison has a number of functions. It's got a deterrent function, it's got a punishment function, and it should have a rehabilitation function as well, and it doesn't, and we know that, OK? And it doesn't because the overcrowding prisons is so appalling. Now, at the moment, and Chloe's right, the last government, for 14 years, built next to no new prison spaces. I think it was something like 400 new prison spaces in all of that time. The prison population had gone up to over 88,000. It was over capacity. So far, we've built more than 2,500 prison spaces, and we've got another 14,000 on the books to be built, right? But at the moment, if you cannot put a violent offender into prison, right, to start their sentence, what are you going to do? And that's why, you can't just leave them on the streets because there's nowhere to put them. And so you have to then say, well, let's try and manage this as best we can whilst we're building those more spaces, right? It's not ideal, but sometimes in life you start from the wrong place. That's what we have. We're starting from the wrong place, and we've got to make the best of it. But that means that it makes sense, instead of saying, well, you can get parole after 40% of your sentence, to say, well, you can get parole after 30% of your sentence, free up the spaces, and try and get the people that you want to get into prison, because they've just been convicted, into prison.
I'll just say, what is the point of giving a hardened criminal 10 years if they can be out in 3 or 4 years? Does anyone think that's acceptable? I think if you're given 10 years for a serious crime, you should do 10 years. And that is the deterrent. All this 30 and 40% is a joke. For me, and I'll say it as I see it, I believe Labour and this Labour government give the rights of criminals give criminals more rights than they do the victims. Now, I could walk down the street and wave a machete at a bus driver. And now, I think I'm a dangerous person. If I was to do that, I'm a danger to society. I will get a suspended sentence. If I say something a bit too fruity on this programme, or I put a tweet out there that's deemed hateful or spiteful, I could get 2 or 3 years. How have we ended up in a country now where something you write on the internet can get you prison, and walking around with a weapon of war or a machete doesn't? Or someone like Hugh Edwards that downloads and has these awful images of child abuse on their phone doesn't go to prison. For me, as a father of 2 girls, I'm ashamed at our judiciary, and I'm ashamed at the country, the way it's going. And I think this Labour government needs to get tough on crime instead of getting... They're giving the criminals more and more rights.
But it's not, sorry, it's not giving them rights, Adam. But
letting them out is giving them more
let's just understand what we would need to do, right? And I'm not saying that people who are sentenced, who are sentenced to 10 years shouldn't serve 10 years, right? But what I'm saying is, if you want to do that, you have got to hugely expand the prison space.
You don't, right? Barry.
You do.
Deport the 11,000 that are in the prison system that were born abroad or are foreign nationals, right? Get the people that are in there for low-level crimes.
So you want to let them off? Hold on. You want to let them off prison?
No, I want
send them back.
I want them deported. And the people that are in there for, like, fraud, we can put them in tags.
If they're deported, Adam, they are not serving a sentence.
Get them out
they
of the
are
country
not being punished.
and bar them from the country.
So you would send them back to whichever country you're going to send to
it's not our problem then,
which will probably... Oh, and how many will then come straight back again?
No, then you bar them from the country if they re-enter.
In fairness, I agree that this story is absolutely outrageous, but I think that what Barry is saying is right in as much as if you deport people and they are then, there's no agreement that they should serve any sentence with the country that they're in, well, then people who are here illegally or here from other countries will know that they could murder someone.
And it makes no difference. Just picked out.
Most countries surely would agree to take back their
they don't.
No, but they don't.
Of course they don't.
They don't put them in prison. That's a big problem, is that people are we have returns agreements with people in prison and that they end up going back and they don't stay in prison.
On this specifically.
But this is mental. This story is absolutely mental, because these are people who have been in jail for manslaughter or rape. They will be freed after 7.5 years. You can literally kill someone or rape them and be free after 7.5 years. Burglary, theft, assault and repeated shoplifting, they could go out after a third of their sentence. It's absolutely mental. Where I agree with you, though, is perhaps the most low-level people, you get them out of prison. And also, I think we need to think about things like, you know, could we not either use these barracks, like you said, or Nightingale prisons? Can't we have prisons where, if you are really low level, if it's things like shoplifting, although it's a serious crime, can't we have temporary prisons for those sorts of people that are secure but aren't, you know, the most secure ones, so that the most serious people can stay in prison?
Most of those are already in low-level prisons. They are.
Barry,
there's different categories of prisons.
We build more low-level prisons.
We need to. Absolutely.
We built Nightingale hospitals in weeks.
That's what we're doing. We're doing 2,500 already. We've got another 14,000.
I mean, the other things about this really is that Labour did say they weren't going to do this. That was the thing. That was the initial thing as well. It was that, don't worry, it will not be violent sex offenders. And like now, it is violent sex offenders, which is a problem, right? But anyway, right, look, the Ministry of Justice has said this government inherited a prison system in crisis and we are fixing it, building 14,000 more prison places and reforming sentencing so we can always lock up dangerous criminals. Without this decisive action, prisons would have run out of space entirely, making it impossible for convicted offenders to be sent to prison and risking the... Barry,
I promise I did not check with the government before I said what I said.
Fair enough.
It's almost verbatim.
All right, there we go. Right, now, we have got some breaking news coming in. Obviously, Trump has bombed Iran again, but also Shabana Mahmood will next week announce a Ukrainian-style sponsorship scheme for households and communities to help bring thousands of refugees to the UK from conflict zones around the world. I think that's probably worth talking about. But before we get to that, it's time for the Great British Giveaway. And it's your chance to win to stay at Gary Lineker's house. If you are a Syrian, no, it's not really. It's just loads of cash and a gold bar.
It's the Great British Giveaway Golden Summer Celebration. Your chance to win 2 fantastic prizes. There's an incredible £60,000 in tax-free cash that can make your bank account brilliant. And because it's tax-free, you get to keep every single penny. Plus, you'll also get your hands on a fine gold bar worth over £5,000. You could give that to your children, your grandchildren, or just invest it for the future. What would you do with it? Just make sure you don't miss your chance to win £60,000 cash and a fine gold bar. For a chance to win £60,000 in tax-free cash and a real gold bar, text GOLD to 63225. One entry costs £2.50 plus 1 standard network rate message, or text BONUS to 63225. 5 entries cost £5 plus 1 standard network rate message. Go to gbnews.com/win. Entry starts at £2.50. Call 0903 686 3232. Calls cost £2.50 plus your network access charge, or post your name and number to GB22 PO Box 8690 Derby DE1 9TT. UK only. Entrance must be 18 or over. Lines close at 4 p.m. on the 21st of August. This is a network giveaway. Entries will be pulled. Please check the closing time if listening or watching on demand. Good luck.
Yes, next, look, brand new footage of Henry Novak's killer speaking to police was released today. I will show you that, and we will also be talking about that breaking news that apparently there will be a Ukrainian-style sponsorship scheme for households and communities to bring thousands more refugees to the UK. That's next.
Breaking news, live updates, stories that matter.
From the heart of the GB newsroom to every corner of Britain, with our team of dedicated journalists across the UK.
GB News bulletins are there to deliver the latest news that matters to you.
Bulletins on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Some people enjoy lazy Sunday mornings, but not me.
What's the truth of the matter?
So that's a very live question.
Would you support him if he waters down these plans?
Before the spin sets in, I'll be getting to the truth.
This is personal.
No soft questions, no easy answers.
It's one thing if the state has rules in this country. It's another thing whether the police and others actually police them.
Setting the agenda and holding those in power to account.
You can't really blame her if the system is set up this way. You will not want to miss it, trust me.
The Camilla Tominey Show, Sundays from 9:30, only on GB News.
I've been in Westminster for a long time, but I know that though power may be here, its effect on people's lives is across the whole of the country. We may be where rules are made, but it's where they're implemented that matters. Join me, Jacob Rees-Mogg, for forthright and frank discussion on where Britain has come from, where it's going, and where it will end up. That's State of the Nation, Monday to Thursday, 8 to 9 o'clock. Vox Populi, Vox Dei.
As soon as it hits 11 and the headlines come in,
The late edition brings you the breaking news from all the front pages.
because the news is going to happen.
So get a head start today.
Patrick Christys tonight, late edition.
Alex Armstrong tonight, late edition. From 11 o'clock every night.
Only on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Westminster's full of talk, but out here, it's the real world.
Am I allowed to talk now?
No, that's it. This is where it matters, real people and real lives. That's what politics is all about.
The fact is Trump made a good start. No.
Straight answers, no spin, and just a couple of pints.
How many fingers have I got up?
About 10. So join me for Lee Anderson's Real World every Friday at 7 p.m. only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Do you trust what you're being told? Good, because neither do I.
Those are just facts.
I'm Alex Armstrong, and on my show, we'll expose the spin.
Well, I want to answer that because you didn't let me last time, because you always speak over me.
The broken promises.
To deny that is denying the truth.
And the hypocrisy.
Stop. You think we can allow?
Politics, policy, Parliament. Nothing is off limits. No sugarcoating, no fear of offence, just the truth laid bare. Tune in every Saturday and Sunday at 9 p.m. for Alex Armstrong Tonight, only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
Okay, welcome back. So look, yeah, shortly we are going to go to that story that's developing at the moment, which is that apparently there's going to be a Ukrainian-style sponsorship scheme for households and communities to bring thousands of refugees to the UK from conflict zones, which is going to be fascinating to see how that plays out. But before that, brand new footage has been released by the Crown Prosecution Service, which shows Henry Novak's killer, Vikram Digwar, speaking to police directly after the murder. The footage showcases Digwar repeatedly lying to officers about the incident, constantly claiming to have been a victim of racism. Here it is.
Like I said, so I was literally just walking there and I seen him. He's then barged into me. Okay. I've said to him, look, clearly, mate, you're drunk. I could smell, like, you can smell the alcohol. I was like, look, mate, you're drunk. Carry on with your day, innit? He's then called me a yeah, I am a bad man. Then he then started recording me. Obviously, then I've just then like, pushed him a lot. He's then grabbed me, then started grabbing my turban, pulled my hair, started grabbing my hair, or started punching me and all this sort of stuff.
Okay.
And then
do you know how he's got that wound then? How's he got that wound?
What wound, sorry?
Well, you said he's got blood on him. How's he?
It must have been where he punched him, but he did fall over here, so he was climbing all over these bins and stuff like that. And then he fell over and then landed onto that car.
Okay. Thought, mate, all right, at this time, I'm arresting you on suspicion of attempt murder. Okay? Huh? You don't have to say anything. It may harm your defence if you don't mention when questioned something which may later on in court. Anything you do so may be given evidence. Okay? The necessities are for a prompt and effective investigation. Okay? And for any further harm and injury. You've got your side of the story, mate. We don't know what's going on here. Okay? So we need to find out. Okay?
So Vikram Digwar was jailed for life with a minimum of 21 years for the murder of 18-year-old student Henry Novak after stabbing him repeatedly to death last December. But it's now also been revealed that new evidence from police has come out that it took them 8 minutes to find that stab wound because they weren't looking for it. They were not looking for it. Even at the point where Henry became unresponsive and unconscious and was not breathing, the police officers still did not actually check for a stab wound, and they were doing CPR. It's very distressing, this, but they were doing CPR on a stab wound on his chest for a while, which is probably the only way you could have made that situation worse. It's horrific. Yeah, I mean, Adam, the footage there. It's also worth saying that Henry Novak is being given CPR behind Vikram Digwar whilst he is lying to police there.
I think the Henry Novak case is indicative now of anti-white racism that runs through the veins of organisations and authorities in this country. You know, if you're a white person, you are probably going to be sentenced a lot harsher now than an ethnic minority. And if you're at a crime scene like this, you're going to be dealt with harsher. Now, let's remember, Henry Novak is a white boy. He's there on the floor, dying out in handcuffs. The last memories that boy will ever have on this earth is being treated as a criminal. Yet, the person that stabbed him to death is standing there being called mate by police officers. He was not handcuffed once, and I don't believe he was even handcuffed on the way to the police station.
He had a knife with him in the back of the police car, apparently. So they didn't even search him.
I think 4 times Henry Novak told the police officers that he'd been stabbed. They did not believe him. 8 minutes it took them to realise he'd been stabbed. For me, I would like to see prosecutions against the officers in that case. I think it is unforgivable, and I think that Henry Novak needs justice here. And, of course, you mentioned earlier, I can't really go into it because it's an active case, that there are possible other charges against people involved at the scene there. I want to see Henry Novak's memory respected, and I want to see prosecutions both in the police and with others that are involved.
And speaking of the officers, I don't think we saw it in that short clip there, but what shocked me was that when they're having this sort of matey chat with him and he says, I am going to have to arrest you for, you know, alleged murder, and Vikram Digwar, he responds back saying, oh, how come I'm being arrested? I've been racially assaulted. And the officer says, I know. He's sort of saying, oh, yeah, I believe you, I'm on your side, but it's just sort of protocol that because someone's here injured, I'm going to have to take you down to the station
with regret.
Yeah, with regret. So it's clearly not just one police officer here that was, you know, brainwashed and clearly misled here. It seemed almost like the whole team, or at least several members of the team, have been brainwashed with this anti-white ideology, such that they've got someone there that they are arresting for alleged murder, and being like, oh, it's okay, mate, yeah, we know you're probably not guilty, because it is the white guy who is accused, saying, I've been stabbed. And also, they will say, with regards to not handcuffing him, they'll say, oh, it's because he wasn't resisting arrest, we didn't have to handcuff him. Well, why did you have to handcuff Henry Novak? Henry Novak wasn't resisting arrest. I mean, he couldn't physically resist arrest because he was basically passed out on the floor at the point that you met him.
Yeah, I mean, actually, literally none of what Vikram Digwal said there was true, as it turned out. There was no evidence that he'd been racially abused, called the P word, or that Henry Novak had actually physically assaulted him at all. There was also no evidence, I believe, anyway, from the toxicology report that was done on Henry Novak, that he was drunk.
No, he was under the legal limit for alcohol. I think he'd had a drink, but that was about it.
Look, when the police respond, and there were mistakes made here, and that's why it's subject to the investigation that it is. I don't mean the crime. I mean what
the police investigation.
But normally, what happens is somebody phones up the police and says 999. What's the issue? Okay, send the police. We've just been attacked. Blah blah blah. The police go in, and they've been told that they're going to a case where somebody has attacked these guys, the family, and they get onto the scene. That's their expectation, because normally the person who phones the police is the victim or the innocent party. And so it's natural that they came there with the expectation that what they were going to do was to arrest the person that they had phoned up about. That seems to me perfectly logical, that would be what they would be anticipating. Now, and you'll remember that the video footage of them checking Novak when he was on the ground, and it was dark and all the rest of it, and he said something about he'd been stabbed
4 times.
No, indeed, he did
11 times.
And the police said, I don't think you have, mate, right? Why did they say that? They said that because there was no blood, because there was no evidence. Because
hang on. When they're putting the handcuffs on him, you can literally see the blood pouring over his hands.
And his hands are so white when he's putting the handcuffs on.
They can't be both.
Sorry,
so they can't both be covered in blood and so white.
Well, they were a bit, actually, Barry, and also, as well, what you can't see because they've blurred his face, understandably, but Henry Novak was also stabbed in the face. So he did actually have a wound here, which they seemed to ignore completely. But what do you feel kind of seeing that footage?
He didn't die with any dignity, and Digwar was given the dignity that Henry Novak was denied. Where I agree with some of what's been said is that if this was an ethnic minority that this had happened to, there would be screaming in the streets. That just has not happened in this case. But I also think as well that we have to be careful. Although what they did was completely wrong, and there is no two ways about it, we have to be careful that the police here aren't just the scapegoats, and we don't just punish them and think, oh, well, there we go, problem solved, because I think their actions are symptomatic of a greater fear within institutions that being accused of racism is the worst possible thing, and the lack of critical thinking skills that they displayed, because I think it was a case about racism. And I will never know, but I wonder if they would have displayed better critical thinking skills and would have been more impartial at the scene had it not been an accusation of racism, which incidentally the Digwars knew would be
I'd put my house on it, Chris.
Yeah, I mean, that was it. I mean, the ultimate thing they tried to hide behind was the allegation.
Yes.
They felt untouchable because of it, didn't they? Which tells you a lot, I think, about
they weren't.
society.
And he's got 21.
He's got 21 years, yeah, exactly.
So, I mean, thank God. Thank God he was convicted.
Yeah, we're going to move on now. So, look, a spokesperson for the Independent Office for Police Conduct said, our thoughts and sympathies are with Henry Novak's family and everyone affected by his death. We are independently investigating the contact Hampshire and Isle of Wight officers had with Mr Novak prior to his death on December the 4th, including the use of handcuffs by officers and the first aid provided. Our investigation, which began following a mandatory referral from the force that we received the same day, remains ongoing, and officers involved are currently being treated as witnesses. OK, right, coming up, we've got two stories rolled into one here. So firstly, it's a GBNews exclusive exposing the human rights loopholes that illegal migrants are using to stay in the UK. But since we've come on air, there has been some breaking news, and we are going to get to it. Shabana Mahmood is going to announce next week a Ukrainian-style sponsorship scheme for households and communities to bring thousands of refugees to the UK from conflict zones. I mean, there you go. You see, it just seems a bit mad, doesn't it? We're going to talk about that when we come back. All right.
I forecast a perfect holiday in the sun.
Weather looking good then?
For sure, and no worries about our travel insurance.
All Clear Travel Insurance sponsors GB News Travel Destinations Forecast.
Looking ahead to the weekend, and the historic heat across some parts of Europe will continue. Over more southern areas, it's not as exceptionally hot here, but nonetheless, it will feel pretty hot with all the sunshine around. Worth bearing in mind, we have high humidity as well, and with the hot and sunny weather, that will allow for a few showers to develop, and if they do, they could turn heavy and also thundery. But generally, the theme is for lots of dry, sunny weather to come as we go through into next week.
All Clear Travel Insurance sponsors GB News Travel Destinations Forecast.
Hello again. Very good evening to you. I'm back with your GB News weather update coming to you from the Met Office. We still have an extreme heat warning out, an amber one across some eastern parts of England through Saturday. Whilst there is fresher air coming in, some of that residual heat is trapped across some eastern parts, so still uncomfortably hot and humid here. Further north and west, a big talking point, the thunderstorms. A lot of the ones over northern England, Northern Ireland, they're clearing through at the moment, but across parts of Scotland, the thundery risk continues into the early hours of tomorrow morning, and also we will then see a few showers developing in parts of the southeast. A lot of dry weather in between across the bulk of England and Wales. Still warm and humid towards eastern parts, but further north and west a bit fresher, a bit more comfortable than some recent nights perhaps. Then into tomorrow morning, well, a cloudy start across much of Scotland. A bit of sunshine perhaps towards the northeast, but yes, generally quite grey. There will be some rain around, but it's not looking as heavy or as thundery as what we're seeing at the moment and overnight. Also across Northern Ireland, a bit of cloud, a bit of rain towards the west in particular, and down the western side of England and also Wales. A bit of cloud here, some rain pushing through at times, but it's not a total washout by any means. Across more central eastern parts of England, it's a brighter, sunnier start to the day, and really through the day itself, we have a northwest-southeast split, staying quite cloudy, outbreaks of rain, a fresher breeze towards the northwest, drier and sunnier towards the southeast, but some showers pushing into some southeastern parts later. These could turn heavy and thundery. Still hot in the east, but not as hot as it has been, and temperatures towards the north and west, well, mid-20s really for many here. Into Sunday, and we have some cloudy wet weather sweeping its way eastwards. It's not particularly heavy rain or all that persistent, but most of us will see some outbreaks of rain, but there should be some brighter, sunnier weather around as well, and temperatures, well, they're going to be so much more comfortable for many of us than they have been recently, dropping to much closer to average for the time of year. Bye-bye.
From cold mornings
to warm family brunches,
from football to tennis in the car,
in the kitchen,
GB News Breakfast is there with the stories you need and the conversations that matter.
Anyway, let's talk business.
Well, it has been a historic night in British politics.
It's astonishing, isn't it? We're here again to start your day just right. GB News Breakfast.
Every morning from 6 a.m.
Only on GB News.
Britain's news channel.
You want to know what's really going on in the corridors of power? Labour don't know what to do with you half the time, and that makes you quite lethal in the chamber. Get behind the headlines with Chopper's Political Podcast. Join me, Christopher Hope, as I sit down with the great and the good of British politics. We'll see where this ruling takes us. These are the stories shaping our nation. Chopper's Political Podcast, available now on all platforms. Listen in and stay ahead.
travel to be here. We've got a couple in from Wales, from Chorley as well, so thank you very, very much. Well, technically Australia, actually, so that's great. Now, we have a breaking GB News exclusive for you now from the Home Office. In fact, we've got two scoops. First one, new Home Office analysis has revealed widespread abuse of human rights laws by illegal immigrants resisting removal from the UK. I mean, tell us something we didn't already know. But Article 8 of the European Convention of Human Rights, the right to a private family life, was originally written to stop the state from tearing apart genuine families, but now it's being exploited by illegal immigrants and foreign criminals to resist removal and stay in the UK against the wishes of the government. And this comes as the government is looking to introduce legislation that will change the way the article is interpreted in the courts. And we thought, why has the government decided to give us this story out of the blue and tell us we're not allowed to report it until 10:30 this evening? Seemed a bit weird. They're just telling us something that we all already know. They abuse this stuff. They're going to try and get a bit tougher on it. And we thought, oh, this is a bit too good to be true. They're doing something nice for us. It turns out it was, because in the last few minutes, the other breaking news, part of the reforms that the government will be bringing in will also include so-called safe and legal routes in a Ukrainian-style asylum scheme that will bring thousands more asylum seekers to the UK. The Home Office, Shabana Mahmood said moments ago, my reforms will save the asylum system for a generation. I will open new legal routes for genuine refugees while closing loopholes that have been too often abused. My goal is simple, to ensure we have an asylum system, not just for today, but for generations to come. And part of this, apparently, is that they are going to announce a new Ukrainian-style sponsorship scheme, so for households or for communities who want to allow asylum seekers to come and live with them. And Chloe, you were looking into this, and you think that you can actually make money from this?
Yeah, well, I'm not sure it's going to be loads. I think you get 350 quid a month typically if you take in a Ukrainian, which, to be honest, is not much money given that, I mean, in London, at least, you can rent out the spare bedroom for £1,000 plus.
Yes.
But I think a lot of people did this out of goodwill. And, I mean, it's not really too much of a gamble taking on a Ukrainian refugee. They've got a culture very similar to ours. I think the likelihood of a Ukrainian living in your house, you know, suddenly launching on you with a machete or raping you, I think is quite small. To only get 350 quid a month to take on the risk of potentially having, you know, a fighting-age male from Afghanistan living with you who could, you know, comes from a very different culture, I don't think it's worth it. So I'm interested to see how many people will be taking on these Afghans. It'd be interesting to see if all of the lefty so-called feminist women who don't seem to have any problem at all and say we're all just making it up when we say there's a culture problem. I wonder how many of them will be taking on these
I'm looking forward. I am seriously looking forward to seeing how many of, you know, some of the people that I used to be mates with that maybe, they don't like GB News or whatever, that are all pro-refugee out on those marches in Walthamstow, how many of them use their spare room for this. And just some detail on this now that's coming through to us is that apparently the scheme will resettle refugees who are fleeing their country due to conflict, famine, drought and other disasters, and they are referred to the UK by the UNHCR, which is the UN's refugee agency, which actually has been quite controversial, especially with some of the things they said over Gaza. Refugees likely to be prioritised are especially from countries Sudan and Eritrea, apparently. So yeah, I mean, it seems like that's the way it's going. Would you resettle a Sudanese man or woman in your spacious home?
Well, probably not.
Just say no. Of course you wouldn't.
No, I wouldn't. I wouldn't.
Be honest.
You're not being dishonest.
But why do you feel a sense of shame saying that? See, this is the problem, isn't it?
No,
why do you feel a sense of... No, I will not have a random Sudanese man in my flat.
It was more about the fact that you said I had a very spacious home. And I don't want to be vulgar enough to say that my 5-bedroom Victorian villa would not be appropriate for that.
He needs a bedroom for each of his dogs.
So, actually, I have 3 dogs now. No, I wouldn't.
A bedroom each?
Yeah, they've all got a bedroom. And so I wouldn't want to kick one of the dogs out. Though I don't get £350 a month.
You keep trying to get me to stay at your house. Where would I stay?
Yeah, that's like, because, you know, I don't want you driving home late at night. Anyway, so, look, the Ukrainian scheme I think showed what a brilliant country we are. And the difference was that we knew those people were coming from war zones, right? Now,
and there were women and children.
Yeah, and there were women and children. You're absolutely right, because the men was staying behind and fighting. I've got, like, you're going to think I've gone a bit soft now, but if you want to do this, then firstly, I'd probably be doing it with the people that are here already, because I don't think you should be doing it with new people coming, because we actually need somewhere to put the people here. And we were talking about the army bases earlier, so that would solve that problem. But if you want to, fine, you have to take responsibility for what they do. You have to take responsibility for them. If they go out and on a rampage or do something wrong or are in the community or do anything, that's your responsibility.
There've been cases where it's gone badly wrong already. The Parsons Green bomber was a young lad who had been living with a couple. There was also the case of the illegal migrant in Bournemouth who stabbed an aspiring Royal Marine to death in the street. He had been living in a home. Canada's done this.
Yeah.
They've had just shy of 400,000 refugees through its private sponsorship model since 1979. So that's what they're...
Look, I don't know the details of this scheme. I'm simply going on what you've said.
Yeah.
But I remember when, a few weeks ago on this programme, where we were talking about how better to manage the whole asylum and refugee system so that people weren't coming here on small boats illegally. And one of the things that, Christo, I remember we talked about at the time was, well, if you could process them outside of the UK, if you could set up processing centres where you assessed whether these people did have a well-founded fear of persecution, or in this case, it would seem, are coming from a war zone with legitimate fear, and then it made sense to do that, to have them screened at that point, and then say, now there's a route which is a legal and safe route, so you're not forcing people to go into the hands of the criminals. In fact, you're taking away their trade and stopping them from coming on small boats, which is dangerous. Now, I don't know, because I haven't, this is just broken in the last few minutes. Yeah. But if it were that, then actually there might be some real sense behind it.
So just quickly, sorry, there are bits of this that, in theory, could kind of be okay, because if you are really seriously clamping down on people being able to lie about this right to a family life, or actually I need to live here because my cousin's here, and all of this ridiculous tosh that they tell, if they get rid of that kind of thing from the law, that could be quite good. If you then say, OK, there is a route which you can get to, you have to have already been approved by an outside refugee agency, and we're not putting you in a house or a military barracks, we're putting you at Gary Lineker's, who wants you, then, like, in a way, I'm a bit like, OK, well, that starts to affect us a bit less.
Yeah. But also, Patrick, can I just say, on this negotiation that we've been doing with, I think it's with the French and some other countries, about how we should have a clear interpretation of Article 8. Because, I mean, I have for many years had lots of... my constituency is Brent West, it's Wembley area. There are lots of asylum seekers that come to my constituency. We have hotels. But the process, I see, and I've made representations to government, of the way in which somebody fails when they go to court, they're deemed not to be a genuine asylum seeker, and then they will put in an appeal. And they'll put in another appeal on human rights grounds.
That's domestic legislation.
Yes, exactly. And that's exactly what's wrong, and that's what she's about to change. Why do we have to
negotiate with France over that?
Very quickly, Adam, then we've got to go.
And I think I'll speak for 90-odd% of the people watching this. We do not want more refugees. We do not want more asylum seekers. We should be closed to the rest of the world until we can put Brits first in this country. We're running out of money. Our services are collapsing. The crime that's being imported into this country is off the scale. I say no, unless they're women and children and in desperate need. The Brits, the majority, do not want more asylum seekers.
OK, all right, yeah. All right, look, when we come back, it's our final section, and we are going to be deciding who the greatest Briton and the Union Jackass of the week is. So we'll find out when we come back.
I'm Michael Portillo. This is GB News, Britain's news channel.
This is GB News, Britain's news channel.
As we know, in a democracy, you're free to choose how you want to celebrate. And this is right on brand for Donald Trump. He loves to be a big spectacle with any celebration he does. He wants it to be big. He wants it to grab headlines. And clearly right now he wants to show strength. So it's a tactical decision as well. As we know, there's a very unpopular war going on with Iran. And he's hoping to announce a deal tonight, which would be the greatest birthday gift he could get, because we do need a deal. But it's only Donald Trump who would choose to do this. A lot of the people who follow UFC voted for him, and he's being tactical ahead of midterm elections, trying to show strength.
GB News, the People's Channel. Nana Queer, weekends from 3 p.m.
5 years ago, from today, I got to meet my absolute hero, Nigel Farage, and rub shoulders with Dan Wootton and Andrew Neil, the latter being particularly grumpy. He was less than impressed as well when the sound failed during his first broadcast. The lighting was dreadful. I looked mouldy, and at one point I was practically invisible during a breakfast show because of a black backdrop behind me. I was little more than eyes and teeth. We faced obstacle after obstacle, including Stop Funding Hate, an activist group that set about trying to destroy us before we'd even broadcast a single second. Advertisers were frightened off, and hostility towards the channel was actively encouraged, which was deeply ironic. But still, we persisted. If anything, it made us more creative and more resilient.
GB News, the People's Channel. Sunday with Michael Portillo, from 11, only on GB News.
Ian McKellen is helping relaunch the Yard Theatre up in Hackney, which reopens this summer, with a new purpose-built 200 capacity auditorium. Tiny, but he'll be doing a brand new version of King Lear. Up in Scotland, Alan Cumming has taken over the Pitlochry Festival. And I just want people to know that all these small theatres, number one, it's not such a big risk. Ticket prices are £30, £35, £40, top price. And you can find less than that. So you can take a risk, but you'll go along and you'll experience something. You'll be part of something. And I am a huge fan of what we get in the West End. It's world class, but it is a lot of money. And it's sometimes just a little bit predictable or complacent or safe, I would say. Not always, but sometimes.
GB News, the People's Channel.
All right, welcome back. Thank you very much. Of course, it's time to round off the show and the week with Greatest Britain, Uni and Jackass, and we're starting with Greatest Britain, and it's starting with you, Adam. Who is your Greatest Britain?
I'm not actually usually a fan, but mine is the Parliamentary Speaker, Lindsay Hoyle, who told the government off for trying to hide these asylum seeker barracks being basically hidden from MPs and not being able to be scrutinised by MPs and their constituents. So fair play to him. He called out the government, who I think normally he sticks up for.
Long Haul Hoyle, his nickname is, because of the scale of his foreign trips, but he was actually in the Commons today, and he did that all yesterday. Go on, Christys, who's your Greatest Britain, please?
The Prime Minister in waiting, Margaret Thatcher's spiritual daughter, the woman who put Bridget Phillipson in her place, Kemi Badenoch.
OK, all right, well, there you go. I think I feel like you're building up a little bit there about the old Thatcher stuff, but anyway. Chloe, who's your...
He's out of the closet now.
Yeah.
He's a closet Tory.
Yeah, well, who's your Greatest Britain, Chloe?
I've got the now Sergeant Lydia Ward, who very bravely stood up in court and put an absolutely damning statement to the man Mohammed Fahir Amaz, who beat up 2 female police officers and has now thankfully been sentenced to that. She stood up to him, which was very brave to do, having to relive that trauma, saying that he had acted cowardly and really putting him in his place for playing the victim card, whilst we only saw, you know, that little snippet of the footage and not the whole picture. He knew the truth, but he hid it so he could play the victim card and pretend that he was the victim of a racist attack. And she He absolutely went for him, and it was absolutely brilliant.
And just to say as well, he has been sentenced today to 3.5 years in prison at Liverpool Crown Court for assaulting PC.
Oh, well, don't worry, he'll be out in literally like 10 months' time.
She suffered a broken nose, etc. She said, "I want you to take a good look at me. Take away that I'm a police officer. Look at me standing here. What do you see? I'll tell you what you see. You see a female who is 5'2", and at the time of the incident, I weighed no more than 8 stone. He knocked me to the ground with one punch with so much force he broke my nose. What he did was cowardice." She did that statement, so fair play to her. Barry, who's your Great Britain, please?
You've all seen the wildfires that are taking place in Derbyshire with the heat. Mine's the firefighters. They're the guys who go out there, they risk their lives. You think what their families are going through, knowing that those fires can turn on a sixpence, come round behind the firefighters, so it traps them. Every time a firefighter goes out to stop those fires, their families are living with the possibility that they'll never come back. So it's to them and their families.
OK, good. Right, OK, solid choices there. Right, by way of round of applause, who thinks that Lindsay Hoyle should be the greatest Briton? No, definitely. So, OK, 1 or 2. Kemi Badenoch?
Kemi Badenoch?
No, it's not happening, I'm afraid. It's not happening for you. The female police officer?
I'll go with that.
Who was that? The firefighters? I'm going to give it to the female police officer.
So you don't like firefighters?
I do like firefighters, but in this
we know you do.
In this particular case, right, quickly, let's go to Union Jackass now. Who's your Union Jackass?
My nomination is Rachel Reeves, who has the audacity to try and pretend that she is leaving the economy in a better place than she took it on. Chris, it's pure lies.
Christys, quickly.
Where did she grow up? In a council house. It's Bridget Phillipson.
OK, all right, fine. Go on, Chloe, very quickly.
It's you've probably all seen the clip of the youth who was blocking an 80-year-old woman from walking up the stairs at the train station because he wanted to relax on the railings.
Oh, go on, Barry, very quickly, mate.
Mine is Zach Polanski, who the Green Party has had to give back the donation that he made to them, because you're not allowed to give a donation to a political party unless you're on the electoral register.
Oh, my God.
And you remember that he told a little bit of a porky about whether he was or not on the electoral register. Left on left.
OK, just very quickly, just shout a name at me as to who you think should
Zach
win.
Polanski.
I'll give it. OK, there you go. Zach Polanski is the Union Jackass. Right, thank you very much, my wonderful panel. Thank you to everyone who's battled through the heat to get here. I've got another hour on the telly. You were released into the wild. See you in a bit.
Today's outlook: cool, calm and completely horizontal. Boxed Aircon sponsors the weather on GB News.
Hello again. Very good evening to you. I'm back with your GB News weather update, coming to you from the Met Office. We still have an extreme heat warning out, an amber one, across some eastern parts of England through Saturday. Whilst there is fresher air coming in, some of that residual heat is trapped across some eastern parts, so still uncomfortably hot and humid here. Further north and west, a big talking point, the thunderstorms. A lot of the ones over northern England, Northern Ireland, they're clearing through at the moment, but across parts of Scotland, the thundery risk continues into the early hours of tomorrow morning, and also we will then see a few showers developing in parts of the southeast. A lot of dry weather in between across the bulk of England and Wales. Still warm and humid towards eastern parts, but further north and west a bit fresher, a bit more comfortable than some recent nights perhaps. Then into tomorrow morning, well, a cloudy start across much of Scotland. A bit of sunshine perhaps towards the northeast, but yes, generally quite grey. There will be some rain around, but it's not looking as heavy or as thundery as what we're seeing at the moment and overnight. Also across Northern Ireland, bit of cloud, bit of rain towards the west in particular, and down the western side of England and also Wales. Bit of cloud here, some rain pushing through at times, but it's not a total washout by any means. Across more central eastern parts of England, it's a brighter, sunnier start to the day, and really through the day itself, we have a northwest southeast split, staying quite cloudy, outbreaks of rain, a fresher breeze towards the northwest, drier and sunnier towards the southeast, but some showers pushing into some southeastern parts later. These could turn heavy and thundery. Still hot in the east, but not as hot as it has been, and temperatures towards the north and west, well, mid-20s really for many here. Into Sunday, and we have some cloudy wet weather sweeping its way eastwards. It's not particularly heavy rain or all that persistent, but most of us will see some outbreaks of rain, but there should be some brighter, sunnier weather around as well. And temperatures, well, they're going to be so much more comfortable for many of us than they have been recently, dropping to much closer to average for the time of year. Bye-bye.
Today's outlook: cool, calm and completely horizontal. Boxed Aircon sponsors the weather on GB News.
It's the Great British Giveaway Golden Summer Celebration. Your chance to win 2 fantastic prizes. There's an incredible £60,000 in tax-free cash. Plus, you'll also get your hands on a fine gold bar worth over £5,000. For a chance to win £60,000 in tax-free cash and a real gold bar, text GOLD to 63225. One entry costs £2.50 plus one standard network rate message. Or text BONUS to 63225. 5 entries cost £5 plus one standard network rate message. Go to gbnews.com/win. Entries start at £2.50. Call 0903 686 3232. Calls cost £2.50 plus your network access charge. Or post your name and number to GB22 PO Box 8690 Derby DE1 9TT. UK only. Entrance must be 18 or over. Lines close at 4 p.m. on the 21st of August. This is a network giveaway. Entries will be pulled. Please check the closing time if listening or watching on demand.
At the stroke of midnight, the news doesn't stop, and neither do we.
Day in, day out. Forget stuffy late night TV shows. We're giving you a front row ticket to the centre of the political universe.
Because breaking news doesn't wait for the morning.
And neither do we. Join us for one of the most controversial and volatile times of politics in human history.
A very big story.
Big story over here.
You won't get this anywhere else. The Late Show live at midnight, every night.
Only on GB News.
Some people enjoy lazy Sunday mornings, but not me.
What's the truth of the matter?
So that's a very live question.
Would you support him if he waters down these plans?
Before the spin sets in, I'll be getting to the truth.
This is personal.
No soft questions, no easy answers.
It's one thing if the state has rules in this country. It's another thing whether the police and